Hi, Taurus rising sign. Here is your weekly forecast starting on the 2nd of March until the 8th of March. So, Mercury is in your 11th house, making a sextile to Juno in your ninth. Now, this is the second sextile. Mercury is retrograde. And maybe a friend from the past kind of like offers you a practical solution to a problem of yours, or maybe a friend of yours from the past is traveling to your home country and then you guys are kind of like catching up. Or maybe you get a piece of advice from a friend connected to your educational goals. However, you can be reconnecting with a community group as well, and then they might be helping you to solidify some of your dreams. Even though it's a sextile, there could be some challenge behind this as well. There could be a misunderstanding in a group chat, for example, and that could lead to a bit of a rift, typically over shared responsibilities, or maybe you realize the dream trip that you have been planning, with a friend of yours is actually has got a hidden cost to it, something that you might not have seen, for example, in February. This could also indicate some type of misunderstanding moments with a friend of yours because there is no clarity how we communicate there. Now, Mars is entering your 11th house this week also. And you can do charitable stuff with this. You can become a very fierce advocate for a cause, a community group, stuff, or you become a certain type of a leader. You might want to stand up for such things as receiving your pay rise. But also you can start kind of like making some collaborative connections with friends and teammates, and you can be promoting teamwork also. However, this could indicate the tensions that might be rising with a friend, maybe over a lack of clear boundaries. Certain type of passive aggressive comments that someone might be making. And you might be chasing goals that turns out to be an illusion also. So just be mindful about that. Now, the very next stop is the Sun and Pallas Athene conjunction also happening in your 11th house. And you can really recognize patterns in your social circle. And, maybe you are ready to kind of like smooth out a bit of a feud between the friends as well. You might make a strategic move towards being able to connect with a group of people, or you are ready to be aligned with your goals. You are ready to kind of like take actions about it. It still has got a bit of a dreamy quality, but Mars entered the sign of Pisces, so it might give you that type of energy level that you need. However, you can feel like an outsider in a group as well. You can see the cracks in an organization that you are part of. Others might ignore those cracks, and then you don't want to ignore them. Um, so that's potentially one negative energy that can come up with this. However, this week you start shifting from the 11th house into the 12th house a little bit. Well, for multiple reasons. One of the reasons is because Bacchus is about to be entering the 12th house. And, in the 11th house, we are very social with all that planet, and you're still kind of like remaining social to a certain extent, but there is this slow shifting into the 12th house. And Bacchus is kind of like, it's like ecstasy. So I'm enjoying spending time alone. And I want to be a little bit away from the noise. This could talk to you about that you find that inner peace by just committing to spiritual practices, a bit of a silent retreat. You can even get to like doing certain type of a creative project, and then you feel very inspired. You are giving a solid form to something, and therefore that's why you might be switching off your phone. However, you can feel guilt, kind of like the spiritual weight, and therefore it might be difficult to kind of enjoy your usual comforts, or you can feel trapped by a secret or a private responsibility, something that you might not be ready to share with the world yet. Now, we do have got Venus making its last aspect while it's in the sign of Pisces, and that's a sextile to Uranus in your first house. So maybe a friend introduces you to a new way of living life, to a new social circle, and they might make you feel very, inspired, kind of like reborn. You can make really positive changes to your personal style as well. You can even get praise from your community also. However, it might be talking to us about having to be adaptable because certain type of group plans are changing, and then you feel a little bit out of sync with the friends. Or you feel like that, you have to get ahead in life. You have to be a little bit more trendy, but you are kind of like hesitant about that. Now, we do have got Sun and Jupiter trine happening as well. It triggers your social houses. And the reason why it's special is because it happens on the degree where Venus and Jupiter trine took place as well. So if you didn't see any benefits from Venus and Jupiter, then maybe the Sun and Jupiter trine can actually help you with that. But it might be a conversation with an old friend or with a sibling, and that brings a bit of a hope into your life, certain type of practical solutions to a dilemma. Or you find that community that feels safe, and then I can talk about my feelings. However, you can overpromise your help to a friend. You can feel like extra generous, and maybe you're squeezing your time a little bit too much. Now, Venus moves into your 12th house, and straight away it makes a conjunction to Saturn and Neptune. Well, Neptune first and then Saturn. Of course, we've got Bacchus there as well. Don't forget about that. So, this is a little bit of a sober joy type of energy. It's like an act of kindness, or you connect someone on a soul level, and then it kind of brings you that joy. You can find beauty in solitude as well, and then you can use your time to strategically plan, your big next move. There could be, though, a bit of a burden by a desire or a past relationship that you can't really figure out how to release. Or maybe this is actually causing you wanting to be in the background a little bit more. You want to be a little bit more alone. But remember, you still have got a lot of 11th house energy. So for some reason, we still need to remain social as well. But this might be an invitation to be more disciplined with your resources. And then last but not least, Hebe. Now, Hebe is entering your first house, and Cassandra entered your first house as well. But I have prepared a video about that, so you might want to check that out. But this is about you becoming the master of your own vitality, finding that youthful vitality. Now this is not necessarily that easy with that heavy 12 house that you've got, but Hebe is trying to introduce more of a youthful lifestyle to you. And this is trying to teach you to find joy in being an anchor, your own anchor in your life. However, there could be stubborn resistance to changing certain type of routines also. But this is telling us that we need a bit of a refresh. Venus indicates that in Aries, Hebe indicates that, Cassandra indicates that too. Maybe you feel like, a pressure that I have to be the strong one and everyone else, is kind of like, wear on your physical stamina, basically. So, like I said, Hebe's journey is not that easy right now for you because it's just alone. So the 12th house is a lot heavier. But the 11th house is also, we can get a lot of kind of like support from our friends. Just we're going to have to be able to ask for help. I think there is going to be a bit more urge here to try new things, to be able to kind of get together with friends, and then maybe we go to a new restaurant, something that we haven't tried before. So this could create some really exciting social life. If you are single, you can even meet someone. Mars is the ruler of your seventh house, so moving into the 11th could indicate meeting someone through your friends. So why not? This is also a possibility for you to work on a secret project of yours and then kind of like, or especially if you have been working on that, then it could be a time for you to put that out there. You can really meet people from different cultures as well with Mercury and Juno. Juno is in your ninth house. However, that at the end of the week, once Venus moves into the 12th house, we can get easily irritated. We can get a little bit more sensitive. We might become a little bit more detached from others. And of course, it could be a source of frustration. So you might want to just, write down your dreams a little bit, write out your thoughts rather than snapping at others. So, Taurus, good luck, and I will see you next week. Take care. Bye bye.